Welcome to Tech Chat. What we're going to do today is a little bit different because we have new WikiTree, is talk about new WikiTree and then talk about some of the third-party tools with new WikiTree. These are two slides. On the left is the old WikiTree, and on the right is the new WikiTree. So it's just a little bit of navigation, and I know this is probably really hard to see. It looks small to me, and I'm sitting right in front of the screen, but everything's still there. Some duplicate stuff is gone, but things have moved around. So on the old WikiTree, my WikiTree was on the left, and now it's on the far right. But underneath, you have similar things. Account controls, that's one thing that people have had a hard time finding, is that's where you go set your WikiTree preferences. I believe that's also where you close your account. So that's close account is moved off from a high level menu. So you're not going to accidentally hit that. But it's all pretty much the same things that you had before. You have your nav page. Nav home page is now called my nav page. Family tree and tools. I think it's my family tree. Family activity feed is activity feed. That's my WikiTree. Now the next one is the profile menu for whatever profile you're on, and it's changed from the ID to the person's name. Underneath, you see the same kinds of things. You see the profile, you see the G2G profile, you see edit, then there's add, find, and help. Pretty much the same thing under, was it find? A search moved. Under help, this one confused me when I first ran into it. Where's G2G? Where's G2G? It used to be under help, under forum and bolded. Now it's not bold and it's community forum. Once you learn where it is, it's not that bad. If you haven't played around and tried to go to each menu yet, I recommend that you do that. And where did search go? Search went to the magnifying glass. Okay, here is a profile. It has the same things on it. Things might be arranged a little bit different. You still have the ability to get the profile ID, the link, the URL, or a citation. This nav bar, if you haven't explored this nav bar, it's really, really handy. You can go to the bottom, you can go back to the top with one click. Family is this, that's family. You can see family, you can see ancestors. Okay, there's more ancestors there. And you can see descendants. And I didn't have to scroll back up to that. I could just go here. Under the account settings is where you can set your default to be family or ancestors or however you want to start. You can jump to the biography or sources section, the photos. I don't have any for her. The DNA section. Look, I might have a lot of cousins out here. And the matches section. Let me go back up to the biography. If you look up here, you'll see I'm just using plain WikiTree. And for Lucy, I can do all the kinds of things that I would do before. Here I could add a new person. I can find things. So that's some of the navigation. You can still go down here. Your collaboration, where you can send a message to the profile manager, post a public comment, post from the profile to G2G. If I go, let me do another profile here. This guy has a photo. This is the edit. If the pencil is edit, and it shows you what it is. It didn't show you at first, and I flunked kindergarten, so I had trouble with the icons at first. The multiple pages is the change history, so you can see the change history for Austin. The little image goes back to him. If the person doesn't have an image like Lucy, if I go to the change history, it's just a blank person. The privacy controls, so you can change. This is the tree apps. Going to show us the fan chart for Lucy.
And that's the default now.
You learn something every day with WikiTree.
Mhm.
I learned something from my Pip Voyager today that she had her first cousin marriage, and I found out, oh, there's a category for that. And
Yep.
she, under the research notes, she did a link to the relationship finder between the people that were first cousins, which I thought was really nice. Okay, so this is a space profile for this guy. This guy had a lot of kids, two wives, both with the same name, and a number of kids, a whole bunch of sources. And he actually had his estate. So this is a space page on the new layout. And here's some background image now is just up at the top, not the whole profile. I know there's been some chitter chatter about what's a perfect size, what's a good size to use for a background image. I think Ian is brilliant, and Ian suggested that this would be a good profile to show. And I'm thinking, to show the evolution of WikiTree, that is really neat. The bar, we can go to the categories. This guy's got a lot of categories. I want to get back to the top. I can just go back up the up arrow to the top. There are no matches. Go back up to the top. I'll go not on this profile, but on another one. I'll edit it. He's got 7 photos. Photos are in a camera roll. Under details is where you can get to the actual image. Guess I need to go back from there. He's PPP. He's a project managed. He's easily confused. He had a bunch of kids. If I go back to Lucy, this is the edit button. So I can go in now and edit the data for Lucy. I can, if I don't want to edit the data, I know it's all correct. Maybe I want to edit the family. I can just click on the nav bar. And she did have quite a few siblings and a half a dozen children, 2 spouses. I picked her because she's a fairly simple. If I want to I can click here to go to her bio. I can edit in her bio. I have the same tools that I had before, so I can add a citation, for example. She's got research notes. Let me go down. Let me do preview. Preview now as they pop up. So I can see how the children are going to look, and I can click anywhere outside to make it go away. I can turn on the enhanced editor, still have that. It works pretty much the same as it did before, I believe. We can do, let's say I made a change. Now, if that's all I want to do, let me go down to save. So I can do the save.
You have to save the draft to do a compare.
Okay. That might have been there before, but I just discovered it with the new WikiTree. I've been in WikiTree since like 2017, and I discovered a number of things and going through all of the looking at the new WikiTree, I discovered some new things. The photos are down here. I can upload a photo. So I'm going to delete the draft and come back to,
I'm not seeing your screen changing.
pardon?
Your screen isn't changing for me.
How's that?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So I'm back to where it was. Now, let me go do one thing here. Let me turn on the browser extension. Um, and this stupid thing wants to be in the way. I don't know how to get rid of it, but I can't run the regular Zoom app because it's Linux and it's not happy with it. Now, if we go back to Lucy and I'm going to refresh, see up here on the left, now you see that I'm enhanced with the WikiTree Browser Extension. Well, one of the things that I've done, I don't know where to put this so it's not in the way. One of the things that I've done here is I've got the family list on the side, that was like that before in the browser extension, and it still works with the new WikiTree. I think you'll find that for most things. There's a few things that are still a little squirrely. So that's with the browser extension, which brings along suggestions. I guess there are none. I'd have to go find a profile with some suggestions on it. This window in the way is such a pain. There. Let me go to my WikiTree. Let me go to my family tree. Let me go to my tree. Oh, I got my, I must have turned off sharing.
Darwin has one suggestion on it.
Oh, Darwin has a suggestion. Okay. All
Although
right.
I'm not sure that it displays.
And you're still sharing your screen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see I am. This is weird. Okay, Darwin has a suggestion.
Yeah. You're almost there. A little bit up a little bit. There. Click. Oh, up.
Oh, this is weird. This is weird. I got it in
Yeah, I
some
know.
kind of state.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's weird
yeah,
when
I
that
got
thing's in
it
the
in
way.
some funky state.
Okay.
I had a hard time when I first had to use a mouse because I had used a high resolution, high precision digitizing table, and a mouse was just too. Um,
Can you
fine
pause
grained.
by the DNA section for Charles Darwin
Sure.
since it's empty?
Um,
I mean, since they're just, it's like
yeah, I'm just
midway
looking.
down. If you scroll
Shouldn't
down,
it show? Yeah,
yeah, it's because there's nothing there, but you can still get to it just by scrolling.
yeah.
Oh, it's not showing. It's showing on mine. I wonder if the WBE is hiding it since it's empty.
Oh, could be, could be. Well, wait a minute. We can find out because over here on this browser, I don't have WB enabled,
Okay.
but I have Darwin here,
So if
and
you, yeah,
yeah, he should have. I
it's
know
a,
he has,
yeah. See, that's really interesting because I'm showing the DNA section on mine and maybe
but huh?
That's weird, eh?
it might be because I have sysops control.
Uh,
Maybe that's why I can see it and nobody else can.
Oh,
go
interesting.
back to we should be able to see a lot of DNA
Yeah, we were
sections.
just wondering why it wasn't showing
That'd be
up
so.
on
Yeah.
Oh.
Charles's, even though there weren't, because it should still show. I think.
Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, and then all the way down to.
California. Oh, wow. Problem solved. I love it.
Oh, and Minnesota.
And Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one's got
Yeah.
DNA. But why doesn't he have DNA?
Because there isn't, it's not showing it because there's nothing to show, I think.
Yeah,
There
Yeah, I
are
think
no
that's right.
there are no test takers, so it's not showing it. And Patty's saying that he reported it as a bug a few days ago in G2G. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we have to go to edit to see the suggestions.
No. Oh, well, to see the suggestions at the bottom, yes.
Okay. So, okay, so we do still see the suggestions and the biocheck results. Pardon?
Well, you must have had to do some work on biocheck to integrate it with
Oh
the
yeah,
new WikiTree.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
what's new?
so we have Susan here. Let me go down and save. Let me make an error. So now it says it seems to have sources and it's missing the references tag. And blah blah is not a good source. It should tell me that. No, it's not going to tell me that. Hmm.
Maybe if you put the references tag back, it might tell you that.
Yeah, my. No, no, it seems to like it. But notice that's what I wanted to get. I wanted to get from the yellow screen, that's the warning that something's wrong, to the green screen that it should be okay.
And sometimes you might have green and yellow, and are there any red ones?
Yeah, the red one is, and I think that's a red one, draft deleted. But if you go in and you add John Doe or John, let's add John Doe. I do John Doe a lot. And let's make him born in 1655, and let's make him died in 1900. There's a red one.
That's new, right? The color coding?
Yeah, that's part of the new WikiTree, I believe. The color coding and the differentiation between the warning, the info, and the success box.
Now, was there ever any discussion about not having it continue anyway? Saying you better fix this or I'm not going to let you go ahead?
I haven't heard of any discussion on that. I think part of it could be not changing the functionality of what WikiTree is doing, but rather just changing the appearance is part of what this whole new WikiTree is about. And then other things like this, like not letting you continue anyway, would be an enhancement separately. I'm just guessing. I really don't know. But that would be if I were
There could
running.
be reasons you'd want to continue anyway, though. Like if you said he was born after that date and died before that date, then it could be perfectly valid.
Yeah, yeah. I just knew that I knew this is a good way to make a warning show up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, there's continue anyway when like you have a category that isn't created yet, right?
True.
Yeah,
It says save anyway.
yeah. Oh, and here's what the leave page is the same. That hasn't changed. Anything else
Okay.
you guys want me to show? I could show just one thing. I think Murray's probably going to show this. I do not have the browser extension enabled. I can enable it here. No, my setup got lost. I did my setup earlier with a preview version of the browser extension, and then the official browser extension was pushed, and
Something got lost?
so this might pick up.
Oh, you know what? So whatever settings you have in the preview version is different from the settings you have in the other version. And so
Yes,
if you did if you did styles in the preview version, it won't show up in the
right,
yeah, okay.
right. So, and I wanted to look at, what I did is I just did one. I know you've done a lot, Murray, but I
Yeah,
just
I'll
did
show that soon.
one in here, and that was to change the background color on the custom style.
Mhm.
So I just did that one. And so if I turn that on, now I didn't tweak with it or play with it at all to try and get everything all looking perfect. I just calmed it down a little bit by taking a different background color, which I think is F0 F0 EE, but I'd have to go double check that. It's still a little, I don't know if that helps this at all. It picked it up here as well. So this calms down the background on G2G.
Right.
Um,
So we turn it over to Rob.
sure. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
shut up.
Okay, share my screen.
Thanks, Kay. That was really great.
Okay, so I'm just going to mention a few things about WikiTree Sourcer. There isn't anything new I'm going to show. I'm just showing you, just talking about how it was affected by the WikiTree redesign and how it should all be working correctly. And let me know if it isn't. There were with WikiTree Sourcer, if you're on a WikiTree page and you bring up the WikiTree Sourcer menu, it's going to, gives you the option to search places, and in order to search places, it needs to have the information like the name, the dates, and so on, and that had to be updated. And there were some issues when the redesign first went live. I think it wasn't extracting all the details of the marriages. So for some of the advanced search stuff, like searching the GRO, there's an option to say search for children with this spouse or this spouse or this spouse. So it wasn't extracting all of that information, but it should be working now. Sourcer does actually use the API as well, but I like it to work even if you're not logged in or if you're uh, um, yeah, basically if you're not logged in, so you're not always going to have access to the API, or if you're not logged into the API. So it defaults to getting everything from the scraping things off the profile, and then the things it can't get that way, it gets using the API. So that should all be working now. And then the other thing that WikiTree Sourcer does with the WikiTree pages, other than extracting information from them, is when you add new people. So if I go to, for example, a profile I've been working on, let's say I'm going to add a spouse and create a new profile. And then I go to I've got the marriage record here of him marrying Eliza George. So if I create a citation there, I can then use that to fill in the fields from the citation data, and it fills out these fields. So that mostly that worked fine because that didn't change too much. One case where it was a bit more complicated was if you add I think when it first went live, it wasn't working for adding a brand new person. So I could use this as an example. If I go to this family search profile, save the person data, and get out of here and just say in WikiTree, I'd say add a completely new person profile. There were some issues here. One thing that I had to fix was, this was the same before, but it doesn't show all the possible fields in the add person, like it doesn't show prefix, for example.
Mm.
But if you're adding someone with a prefix, it will automatically add the prefix field for you.
Hmm.
And that was something that broke with the new extension just because things were structured slightly differently. But that should be working now. So those are the kind of things where there could still be some little issues with Sourcer from the redesign, but I've fixed all the issues that I'm aware of. And speaking of issues with Sourcer, I'm in the process of switching to using GitHub to track all the issues. So WikiTree Sourcer is an open source project, so that all the source is on GitHub. And one of the features you can enable for a GitHub project is this issues tab here. So I currently have 53 open issues. I haven't transferred all the enhancement requests over yet. But so if you wanted to see if your issue has been logged, or if I'm aware of the issue, you can look here. And these labels work quite nicely. So if you want to see, there's 53 issues. If you want to see the ones that are considered bugs, you can click on a label and it'll show you there's 23 considered bugs. Or you can click on the name, like all the ones that are to do with Ancestry. So there's 15 Ancestry ones. I think you can, I'm not sure how if you can just click to add things, multiple labels, but you can type it in. So I could type in label bug here. And you can see all the ones that are Ancestry and bugs. It should be 11. And so when a bug is, you're welcome to enter bugs here yourself, or often people report them on G2G, and then I'll just add this and put a link to the G2G entry so that I can track the status. Any other questions about Sourcer?
That's awesome, Rob. Thanks for all you do. I used it all day long yesterday, about 13 hours. So I entered quite a few profiles with it.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do without it now.
I was
typing
using
a lot
it to test add person because I've got a biocheck problem when I add person.
Yeah,
So I was using Sourcer to
yeah.
fill in the fields. I don't like to type. I'm lazy.
Yeah, I have a family tree on Ancestry, so I use add person a lot. I use the save person data a lot from Ancestry to add people, but recently I'm working on a one-place study, so I don't have a tree for those people on Ancestry, so I'm doing a lot more using citations. Just say I've found this person in the 1881 census, I want to add them. So I just get the census entry or their marriage entry and create a citation, and then you can fill out the fields, not just from save person data, but you can fill out the fields from any citation as well.
Excuse me, can you repeat that a little slower, Rob?
Okay.
I'd really appreciate what
Yeah,
you do.
so
all of you.
I was showing that here, but I probably went over it fairly quickly. For example, this is a guy from my one place study. I've just entered, I'm entering all the people in from the 1881 census. So, and then I create a full profile for them. But in this case, Jeremiah is in the 1881 census. And I'm trying to remember now, he has, yeah, his son is also in the 1881 census. Thomas George, but he doesn't have a wife yet in here. But his wife does show up in the census. No, sorry, his wife shows up later in here in 1911. He's married. So I can go to his marriage, find his marriage source here, which is on Ancestry. I can go to this. This is the Thomas's marriage on Ancestry. So if I want to add his wife, but then avoid typing all the details and the marriage details, I can click in Ancestry on the spouse. So now we have the source for the marriage from the spouse's point of view. Now I can say, so that's the kind of citation I would put on the spouse. I do build narrative with citation. And when you build a narrative, it doesn't just generate the text for the narrative and citation, it actually remembers a bunch of information from here. So then when I go back here and do back to Thomas and say add his spouse, I can do, you notice here that there's two different fields. It remembers the last last thing you did with save person data, but it also remembers the last citation you did. So the last citation I did was for Eliza George, which is this person's wife. So I click on that, and it was able to extract this information from when it built the citation. The name and her birth date. I guess it's not always
That's
going to get that
amazing.
from the marriage, but it did. So then when we get a bit further here, it automatically fills out the marriage date because that was from the citation.
That's
Are
so
you
amazing.
deliberately
Thank
not
you.
are you deliberately not trying to add the married name from the marriage record?
Let me go back. I guess that's probably something I could do if I'm not.
I think it does that if you
Yeah,
have on the family search profile
yeah, it does.
the
Yeah, it
married
does do that
name.
when you're adding from a profile, but that's true. I could do that from a marriage record. And if I go, just curious now. So here, I think the problem is I can go into my debug menu here and show the generalized data. This is all the information that it managed to extract from that marriage. And it does have the spouse name. So yeah, I guess I could put in the last name at birth as current last name as Berry. And I guess if they married twice, it might not be correct, but it's probably as useful.
Great.
I,
Thank you.
can I ask anybody to do the family search one? I don't have Ancestry.
Yeah. Well, that will work the same for a family search marriage.
It'll be the same thing.
So I'm on this one on Ancestry. I could just search family search from this record, see if there is a marriage.
I
I
love
really
that.
appreciate this.
I love that feature. Being able to search for that.
So yeah, so you can see it found the same marriage on family search,
Wow.
and then I can just go to that and then do create a citation here, and then I could do
Read a
the
citation.
same thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Really appreciate it. All everybody does.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
that's
much,
pretty
Rob.
awesome, Rob. I do a lot of work through Family Tree Maker, which is a program, right? It's a data family tree builder program. And we can search directly in Ancestry and pull up all of these records. And I had never realized that I could then just open that record and use Sourcer to get perhaps a family search source, because I do like to use family search sources,
Yeah.
obviously. They're easier. So
Yeah.
that's actually brilliant.
Yeah, and there are, like, if you go to a census like this, so here we are on Ancestry, there's the 1911 census, and now you can either just say search family search for that same thing, but there are certain record collections that Sourcer has built-in knowledge of, so it knows about the 1911 census, so you can say search family search specifically just for the 1911 census. And then it'll just find that one, go directly to that one.
Oh,
Beautiful.
I find that pretty useful because it doesn't always work. They might have transcribed it differently. So if you do this and then it doesn't find anything, you could try a different spelling of the last name or something. And because it's filtering and only searching the 1911 census, you're more likely to be able to track it down.
Yeah, I really like the wording they use um in Ancestry better for US Census records than what they use in Family Search. And so really I have the entire thing. All I need to go is find it and use and just replace the URL.
Yeah.
It's kind of like all I really need to do is go, but can I find this record? And I do a lot of searching for those. So this is brilliant. I love this. This is fantastic.
Yeah, that was I put that in the original version of Source. That was part of why I developed Sourcer, I think, because I was doing a lot of that myself. Like, I found this record on Ancestry. How do I find it on Family Search? And Family Search can sometimes be pretty hard to use. So Family Search doesn't allow you to search by like the enumeration district or something, but going between some sites, you can actually put all that exact information in. So even if it's a different name on the other site, it will find it. Like going between birth registrations between GRO and Ancestry works that way.
What I use a lot is that I do Canadian profiles too, and if I find something in Ancestry or in Family Search, I find the census for the Canadian, and then I go to the Canadian sources, and then it goes straight there. It was unbelievable that I could get the original from the U.S. I mean from the Canadian sources, which is a lot better than doing either Ancestry or Family Search. I like them both. I love it. I love it. And one thing nice about about Ancestry is that it also gives you the street numbers and gives you a lot more information in the Ancestry. And that's great if you want to become more of a story type instead of just having dates.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Should we go over to you now, Murray?
Sure, Rob.
I'll stop sharing.
The browser.
Your screen. There. Go to the browser. All right, so you remember our friend Charles Darwin. This is the WikiTree Browser Extension. And so I'll just show you some of the little things that we've done. As you can see, we've got a different colored background. If I just hover my mouse over the menu, it appears. And you'll notice all the colors and underlines are gone. It's just a nice, neat display of links. We just thought we'd just like it a little bit cleaner this way. Now, if we move down, you can see that I've just used a series of slightly different grays just to make a colored background for it. A lot of people were commenting that the white was really getting to them. People have sensitive eyes, and so I just did this as an example of what you could do. So you'll see that it's added a number of tabs here, and it's added these things over here. So let's just look at the tabs. So you can go to the family group, and that gives you, the whole family, the parents, the siblings, the spouse, the children, their dates, particular details. Here's the family timeline. Just gives you information about the family and the sequence of events in their life. There's an image table, which is different from what WikiTree is providing. And so here's all the images that are associated. And I just discovered a bug today in this, and I'll show you that. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. What I meant to do was to click on this, and you'll notice that picture popped up behind it. And it used to pop up right in front of it and doesn't do that anymore for some reason. And so I've mentioned that to Ian. He's going to fix that. So just a little thing. And then the suggestions, there is one suggestion, and we looked at that earlier, so I won't go and review that. So you go back to family, and then up here you've got the menu that you're used to seeing. So we just scan down a bit. And what I've done is I've brought the categories box up to the top and put it on the right. And you can see that it's project protected, and it's got all the same things that you're used to seeing here. It's just that there's a different color behind. There's the photos, the G2G forum, and there's no DNA section as we discussed earlier. So if we scan down, this is pretty much entirely the same profile that you would see. You're just not getting that white screaming out at you. Okay, and this here is a WBE feature. It takes a list that you normally see down here and turns it into a table, and it gives you this all degree table, so you can see how they're all related to each other. And we'll just click out of that. Whoops. Let her in. Come on. And we'll get rid of that. And whoops. And we'll just go back up to the top. Now, there's things that I can do in here, but I don't have to touch any icons at all. So you can't see me, but right now I'm holding down the Control and the Option keys, and I'm hitting E. And boom, I'm in here. I'm ready to edit. Okay, again, I don't see any real difference. We'll come down and see the family. We just got a different color in behind, right? Except, now this is where I've got to move this thing out of the way. Okay. So now you can see your edit box, right? But what you don't is see, just do that. And you can hide the photo column. And now I have a full width edit box. My clipboard and notes are up here. And I can bring that back like that. And now it's back. And I've still got my information over here, right? And we've got a note here telling us that the navigation box should be before the project box. Okay? So that's, oops, no, you know what I should do? I shouldn't use that. What I should do is go down to here, and you'll notice that these are all buttons now. These two used to be just text strings over here. Well, now they're buttons. And so I can just click on this and it'll return the profile without saving. And that way I won't leave any drafts behind. So that's a simplified version of what we've done. Okay. But now let me show you a different one. So I'm going to turn off the standard WikiTree browser, and I'm going to turn on, whoops. Okay, wait a second. I've got to refresh the screen. Okay, so now we're back to the WikiTree view. Go back to settings, and I'm going to turn on the preview version. Oops. You sure you want to turn? Yes.
You just have to authorize it
Oh,
by
Touch
putting
ID.
your Touch ID.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get that part. Okay, so now that's done, and it popped up the features list. This is where you can set all your controls, and you can find, oops, LP. You can find things. It's supposed to work. It was working earlier. Huh. Okay, never mind. Oh, it did work. There it is. There's help down there. So I've got the help feature turned on. And what that does is it lets me do. So here is an entirely different page, but this is the WikiTree Browser Extension page. Okay, again, we're using different colors. So I've just varied it a little bit, and I've thrown in some extra things. But now I'm going to go back to Darwin, because that's who we were working on. Where is he? Got too many. It's Brigham Young. There he is. Say Darwin. So back to Darwin so we know what we're looking at. So you can see it says enhance with WikiTree Browser Extension. And when I do a search, this is going to open up. But the difference between Web Browser Extension and WikiTree is I can do that anywhere, and it's just going to open up and it's going to stay there as I do this. In WikiTree, it opens up, but you have to be at the top of the page. So that's a nice little feature. So what I've done is I've moved some things around again. And let's see, what have I done here? So now the categories are at the top in the middle. Profile managers there, family relationships. And there's my photos and G2G forum. But watch what I do here. Click on that. And now I go down. And all the sections are closed up. And all of these on the other side are closed up. And in a few days, this should be working a little bit better so that these subsections will be underneath biography. And so it'll just be biography and sources. And it'll actually be a collapsible profile like it was previously. The other thing you might notice up here is there's a little number there beside beside each of these links, and that's an access key number. And so you can just hold your access key and hit 3, and it's supposed to go. It didn't go. Huh. My links aren't working. It did warn about that, didn't it? There we go. There's sources. So now I can go to photos. Now we'll use the access key again. We'll go to 5, and we'll go to 6, and we'll go to 7, up to the categories. So that's pretty handy for people who like to keep their hands on the keyboard. They can find their way around and they can see the key that they need to use. So that's convenient as well. And I asked them to put information in this little tooltip to remind you that you can use that key. What else am I going to show you here? Because I didn't make a lot of changes to how the content is presented, but now I'm going to. So I'm going to go up here and you may remember if you've used WBE before that there used to be a toggle right over here called readability mode or reading mode. Well, now reading mode is with the glasses. And with reading mode, the whole thing spreads across the page. Anything that was in the right column is gone. It's hidden. And you can see, again, I've got got this going on. So we can collapse the whole thing and pick the section that we want to look at. Okay. But you'll notice something else. I get down to the bottom, there's the sources, but there's nothing after it. So I've just made all the stuff that I didn't want to see, I just made it disappear. And it's not in my way. And now I can go through and read this, at my leisure without a lot of stuff in my way. And it's just a convenience. Oh, you may also notice that up here, I made all these links go away because I'm in reading mode, right? I don't need a lot of links. I'm not going to do a lot of stuff. If I could make this whole bar go away and just leave the glasses behind so that you can get back, I would do that. But that wasn't a convenient thing to do. So anyway, this allows you to spread it across. And then the other thing you may notice is the font. So this is actually, sorry, let me just, I had this in the top. Comic Sans. Thank you very much. This is Comic Sans. Now, you might wonder why someone would choose Comic Sans to read. And the answer is that next to a real dyslexic font, this is the next best thing. So it helps people who have difficulty reading, have cognition issues. Reading a font like this makes it easier for them. And so I wanted to experiment with that a little bit. And so that's why I chose this. But there's several fonts that you can choose from, including Roboto and like that. So now I'm going to go into edit mode. And you can see the fields have tightened up. There's not as much space in between them. And this area is pretty much the same. But now we come down here and we've got a whole bunch of stuff happening here. So I can increase the size of my content or put it back. I can do a pop-up editor. So I can just have a bigger screen space to work in and still have all the tools, and I can escape from that. Again, I can do this. I can get rid of that column and bring it back. And then I've got all of these tools for templates, categories, and biography stuff that you can do, like auto bio and putting in, birth and parent details, etc. So those are some extras that WikiTree throws at you. Here's another one where you can get the information. So we'll pick his father, and so that gives me all the sources that are on his father's profile. So I can now just click on this and add a source over into his page. And I can also quickly look at his bio. So if I need to go into his dad's bio and get something out of it, bang, there it is. That's another convenience for you. And really, that's what WikiTree Browser Extension is all about. It's about making it easier for you to use this tool, WikiTree, that we love so much, to move some obstacles out of your way. And in the last week or well, a few weeks, I guess, I've been hearing from a lot of people about the white, and it wasn't a bother for me really, but a lot of people were really bothered by it, and they just wanted to be able to have a colored background. So this is a way to get that. What else am I going to show you about this? Are there any questions? We are going to delete the draft and return. And then come back over here to the WikiTree Browser Extension. So when you have the WikiTree Browser Extension, so here's, we did the add family search ID, the menu hover. Calendar. And Kentucky Genealogical Society Front Porch Talk. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Okay, good to know. We've added some new access keys, which I told you about. We've done some custom style stuff. We've added some new readability options to make the add contrast to the form fields and adjust the spacing between the form fields. Add person redesign is working again. But as I go down here, I'm going to go to the features, and I'm just going to show you something you may not know, is that there's a help feature built into Web Browser Extension. And when that help feature is enabled, then this area here, rather than being a picture of the control, which you would normally see if you didn't have WBE installed, it's the actual control. So you can enable or disable. So if you don't know how to use something, you're up here and you say, oh, access key, do I want to use that? I really don't know. Well, you can just click on help and it'll open the page and it'll take you there. Oops, there it is. And then you can look at your options and you can say, well, yeah, I want to use all these access keys. So you can set the ones that you want to use and hide your options, and you're done. And that works all over all the features of WBE. And I think that's where I'm going to stop. Oh, I did show you. Yeah, I showed you that. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Murray.
You bet, Kay.
First to say thank you, Murray, and mine is more about like a simple but for other people, but it says to add family, yet I see the family at the side if I'm doing a project for someone else. Does that mean they're already at it? Or, the pretty colors you can use at the side and the family's usually there? Is that from someone else's study or something?
That's showing you the profiles that already exist connected to that person on WikiTree, I believe.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
there
because
what you see over on the right-hand side, the family, those are the links to the profiles that are connected to that person that are already in WikiTree.
then why does it say add family?
Because
When I
you
was
can add
working on-
more if there's more children. Unless you've selected that there are no more children, then you can still add more children. Is that what you mean?
I'm not even sure. They're all down on the side.
This is the area you're talking about, right? Where it's got the list of people.
Yes.
And sometimes it says add family, right?
Yes. I think it was I was supposed to add family. But
So typically that will happen on a profile where you are the profile manager or you're on the trusted list. So, they're expecting you to be the person who's editing it, and they're going to offer you the opportunity to add family. It's not showing it for me here because I'm not the profile manager, right? And so the other conditions are, as you're pointed out, if there are check boxes on some of these, you may have noticed, and no more children, no more spouses, no more siblings. Now, if you check those, then that says, okay, well, this family is finished. We've completed this family. We know that there are no more spouses, children, or siblings. And it also tells WikiTree to not offer people the opportunity to add more siblings, spouses, and children. Good evening to everyone. It's been great having you here. It's been fun. We've got to show off a bunch of stuff, and we will be back again next month. And hopefully Greg will be with us this time. He's suffered in an ice storm, and he's without power and has a blazing fire going in his house. And I guess the family is getting closer together and playing games. So that's probably good. Anyway, we'll be back next month, and we'll have more to share with you.
And that's Monday, April 28th, same time. And the Zoom link is the same as well.